Hi, I'm Alicia Silverstone, and you're listening to Beyond the Plate with Cappy.
Hey everyone, this is Cappy, and you're listening to Just the Plate, a production of Beyond the Plate. Just the Plate is a short segment where chefs describe a dish or a recipe that is meaningful to them. Now, we usually have a chef season of Beyond the Plate, but as you know, this is a celebrity season, so some of our guests will be making a dish from a book or a restaurant they may be affiliated with or something they just like to cook at home. You'll just have to wait to find out. I've actually cooked most of the dishes from our Just a Plate episodes, and we have plenty of listeners that have also done so as well. So last week you heard from Alicia Silverstone. She's likely known for her generation-defining role in Clueless. She's done film, TV, and theater, and her performances have garnered award and critical praise, including Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, as well as a National Board of Review award. She's a dynamic and well-connected fixture in the acting, political, and scientific community, and is a dedicated activist in the health and wellness space. She has 2 books, The Kind Diet, as well as The Kind Mama, and she co-created the My Kind Organics vitamin line, which is the first ever food-based, organic, non-GMO vegan vitamin, and they're all great. If you missed last week's episode with Alicia, please be sure to check that out. But for now, she teased like 10 or 15 dishes that she may want to talk about, and it was hard to narrow this down to one, but let's just say we have a lot of cooking to do. She started with one, which were these raw balls, which I was really excited about because I've been wanting to make those myself. Raw balls and granola. I'm on this kick to try and perfect the recipe for how I like it. And I like the thought of a raw ball, just like to give you some energy, pick me up during the day type thing. But she makes these and brings them to her son's school as snacks. And then she goes on to talk about these crispy treats that she makes, some with peanut butter and chocolate chips, and some with almond butter, which I thought is a really good substitute. And then she keeps going on and talks about this bok choy or kale or cabbage and leek dish that she makes with a umi vinaigrette. She uses umeboshi plum vinegar, and she has some really interesting tips of what she puts that plum vinegar with, flaxseed oil and the flavors that it brings out. It's really interesting. And then when I thought we were done, she started talking about how she prepares her oatmeal that she makes for her son, which also sounds delicious. So you're kind of getting 4 for the price of 1 in this episode. But I'm going to stop talking. This is Just the Plate.
I want to do what's going to be the most impactful for people to actually taste the delicious food. So I'm trying to think really quickly of what would be that recipe. I do think that the leek and crostinis are amazing, but I also think the artichoke dip's amazing. Let's look at what would be the most effective for someone who was is your audience kind of meat friendly? They're meat people?
I think they're all over the board. There's people that just love learning about new things, and there's people who, there are meat people, but there's people who love learning about a new way,
I think maybe the crostini or the Caesar salad or the couscous or the waffle panini. I think you should make all of those.
I probably will, to be honest.
The artichoke dip is insane, and that's so easy. The raw balls I make all the time, and they're so insane and delicious. I could tell you those really quick.
To be honest, I don't have your book, and I'm ordering your book as soon as I hang up the phone because all these things, you're speaking my language.
I mean, they're really, really yummy. I feel like you should make for your audience just and see for yourself how delicious it is. I think you should make the crostini, the artichoke dip, the couscous, and the waffle panini. And I think you would be so happy. And maybe from the Kind Mama, the fat noodles, because those are so good. And maybe the cheesy, oozy guacamole dip, bean dip, that's so good for football season. But I can tell you really quickly how I make a few recipes from the book that's just really easy, which is I could tell you about the Rice Krispie treats, I could tell you about the raw balls, and I could tell you about the bok choy drizzled with umi vinaigrette. Where should I begin? They're all quick.
I don't know. They all sound so good.
Right? Okay. Well, the raw balls I make often because I bring them to Bear's school for the tea fairy. And those are made with, you take walnuts and put them in the Cuisinart and you blend them a little bit. And then you add dates, and then you blend that together for a little bit. And then you add maple syrup, and you add a little vanilla, and you add almond butter, some almonds. And then at the end, you're like taking this paste that's like, and you're covering it in coconut. And it's so yummy. Oh, and you need cacao. You put cacao in there.
And you just whiz this all up in the food processor.
Yes. And that's in the Kind diet. And then another recipe that I make a lot is the Rice Krispie treats, and they are so yummy. You're taking brown Rice Krispies that have nothing in them. They're just like literally puffed brown rice, essentially. It's got no, there's no sugar, there's no added stuff. It's just puffed brown rice. And I think on the brand of the box is Air One. I think that's what it's called. And then you put that in a big bowl. And then you're going to take some almond butter. Now, you could do it two ways. You could do it with peanut butter, or you could do it with almond butter. So the peanut butter way, you're taking peanut butter and brown rice syrup, and you're mixing it on the stove into in a saucepan, kind of like to make it into a thick kind of sticky paste or something, And then so you're just mixing that all together, and then you pour that on top of the Rice Krispies. And then when it's cooled down a tiny bit, you want to mix in some chocolate chips. The other way to do it is to do it with almond butter instead of the peanut butter, and instead of chocolate chips, do raisins. Both are delicious, but of course chocolate and peanut butter. I mean, who doesn't want chocolate peanut butter? But the almond butter raisins are really good too. That is the easy thing, and then you just, literally put it into like a glass container or whatever, and they turn into, that's your squares. That's it. It's so easy. It's like 4 ingredients. Another thing I make almost every single day is, I do make it pretty much every single day. You can do it with bok choy, you can do it with kale, you can do it with cabbage and leeks. And what I do is I steam them or I blanch them. So if it's the morning time and I want a lot of energy, I blanch it because I can do an upward energy. And if I want to relax and calm everything down, I steam it. And that's usually at night. And so then I take those greens, and you're just doing it. You don't want them to be crunchy, and you don't want them to be too soft. So it's like that perfect amount of time. It's usually around a minute, maybe a minute and a little bit longer. And then you take it out, and then you don't shock it with water or anything like that. You just put it on the plate, and then I drizzle it with lemon, and then I drizzle it with flaxseed oil and a little bit of umeboshi plum vinegar. This is in the book. It's called bok choy drizzled with umi vinaigrette, I think. But I make that almost every single day. And then you could put toasted seeds on top. Like when I do it with cabbage and leek, I'd put like toasted sunflower seeds or toasted pumpkin seeds with like some soy sauce kind of melted into it. So it's got that really yummy, salty crunchiness to it as well. Or you could do toasted sesame seeds. I
was just talking about shoyu today with Rachel Ray because she gets a smoked shoyu. Have you ever had that?
No.
There's some company that makes smoked shoyu. It sounds interesting. So flaxseed oil, really quick. Is there I don't think I've had flaxseed oil straight up. Does it have like a flavor, or are you using it more just for an oil?
When you have flaxseed oil with umeboshi plum vinegar, this secret's going to change your life because it makes it's like butter. It's like salty butter. It's just the yummiest, sweet, sour, buttery, citrusy taste with the whole combination of the lemon, the umi, and the flax. It's divine. And sometimes I also put flaxseed oil on. I make oatmeal very often for Bear, steel-cut oats, and then I put chopped up, this recipe is also in my book, but I put chopped up apples, chopped up dates, cinnamon, a little bit of salt, flaxseed oil, and maple syrup. And the flaxseed oil acts with the maple syrup like this yummy butter, and it just tastes so good. Oh, and walnuts. You need some walnuts in there.
I love these tips. They're fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Find more on Alicia Silverstone by Googling Alicia Silverstone. I'm kidding. At thekindlife.com. This episode was produced by myself along with Ian Cohen and Joel Yeaton. Find me and keep up to date with this podcast across all social media platforms at On Cappy's Plate or go to beyondtheplatepodcast.com. Beyond the Plate is on Twitter at BT Plate Podcast and Facebook. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on your listening site of choice. Thank you for listening to Just the Plate, a production of Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy.